When I looked at the research, the happiest people on the planet, they just had happiness habits. It was happiness hygiene. I'm a better human when I'm in a better place emotionally. I'm a better dad, coworker, human. I'm like, well, if I'm a better human being, why wouldn't I want to get myself in a better place more days? Gratitude is the one I fall back on. I'm very intentional about how I start my days and I end my days.
Welcome to the Shaping Freedom podcast, where we dive into conversations that inspire personal growth, transformation, and clarity in challenging times. I'm your host, Lisane Basquiat. I believe that the stories that we tell ourselves and the ones that we pass on shape everything. My guest today, Devin Hughes, knows this deeply. Devin is an author, a speaker, and a storyteller who helps people unlearn what no longer serves them and replace it with habits, mindsets, and stories that create joy, connection, and freedom. He's written across generations, from his powerful memoir, Contrast, a biracial man's journey to desegregate his past, to simple tips to being a happier you, to his beautifully crafted children's books that help kids believe in themselves. His work blends the science of positive psychology with the art of lived experience, and his message is clear, that we can rewrite our story and that we can shape a better one for those that come after us and those that we're around during this lifetime. As you listen, I invite you to reflect on your own story. What are you carrying that you might be ready to set down? And what new story are you willing to tell yourself, starting with today? Hi, Devin.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing okay. Yeah. How about you?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here with you today.
I'm excited to have you. How was your weekend?
My weekend was quick as usual. What did we do? I don't think I did a whole lot. I get joy in the benign moments, the walks, the coffee, the dog, the writing. Nothing big, hairy, and audacious. Just kind of being present.
Yeah, I love my weekends also. This was Independence weekend. We're taping this or having this conversation right after Independence Day weekend. And I enjoy agendaless time off. That's the thing for me, because I'm so scheduled during the week that having time where I don't have to think about anything but what I feel like doing or thinking about feels like a big old gift.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I'm trying to shift from doing to just being. And this weekend I was just being present.
That's amazing. What's the benefit of that?
Just because as I look at my life, and I'm a lot more reflective now at this point, most of us get about 80 summers. We're lucky. 80 summers. Ain't a whole lot. 80 summers. And so I'm a lot closer to the finish line than the starting line. And so I'm just trying to be consciously conscious and not fly through all those moments, because it's the only thing that really matter to me right now, is having more of them.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's one of the things. I'm thinking about a conversation that I had earlier today around the fact that things move so quickly and we seem to work against ourselves and push things along quicker at a faster pace than they really need to be pushed. And the result of that is, or the consequence of that is not a positive one, because what it means is that we miss so much. And we most of all miss ourselves. Like, we miss the opportunity to, like you said, go for a walk and just enjoy your dog. That's okay too. That's an accomplishment too.
Yeah. And well, I mean, I guess like a lot of people, I felt like if I wasn't constantly grinding, curating, iterating, doing, that I wasn't maximizing my gifts.
Yeah.
And so part of it is recharging my emotional battery. I think I'm more creative when I'm in a better place. And second is when I looked at the totality of my life, like, you don't remember all the aggregate moments, but the moments that mattered the most, I was just being. I mean, it was on a front porch with a lemonade and a handshake on a curb.
Yeah.
It was on a couch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do I create more of those serendipitous moments where there's no agenda? It's not transactional. It's just human to human, just connecting and talking and being messy and just, so either way. So that was my weekend. And it was like, it was amazing. I felt recharged. I felt energized. I smiled. I laughed. It was all of the above.
That's wonderful. Yeah. You wrote a book on simple tips to be happier. And in that book, you talk about joy, just everyday kind of joy, which is really kind of what you're talking about now. Is there a habit that you have today that still centers you?
Yeah.
Or a routine?
Yeah. So, several, but I think the one that I think kind of stays with me. And again, it's interesting. You said habit, because when I looked at the research, the happiest people on the planet, and I was trying to discern between them and me and us and everyone, right? Was the happiest people. They just had happiness habits.
Yeah.
It was happiness hygiene. And so to my simple brain, I was like, okay, I'm a better human when I'm in a better place emotionally. I'm a better dad, coworker, human. I'm like, well, if I'm a better human being, why wouldn't I want to get myself in a better place more days? And so, like everything else, I was like, okay, well then I need to develop some of these habits. So to answer your question full circle, gratitude is the one I fall back on. I'm very intentional about how I start my days and I end my days. I wake up, I'm blessed to wake up, and I think about, again, what's one thing that I'm grateful for? What happened yesterday that I'm grateful for? Just to kind of close the chapter, just to remind me that things are happening. And then at the end of the day, I do something similar. I just do a little pause and just kind of self-check, because I think, me personally, is that one of our greatest addictions in the new normal is focusing on all our problems and discounting our blessings.
That's right. Unfortunately.
Yeah. And so
that is correct. Yes. Unfortunately.
So I'm not saying the world's not upside down, and I'm not being, a Pollyanna about the world, but even in the midst of the storm, I'm still intentional about finding things to be grateful for. So that's the one thing that I would say.
Yeah. And I think it's also, the principle, biblical and life principle, that you reap what you sow is true. When you spend your time thinking about and focusing on all the horrible things that are in the world, that is what becomes front and center in your day and in your moment.
Yeah.
And when we have when we hit the pause button throughout the day to remember that, yeah, maybe you dropped your coffee on your way out of the coffee shop, but you didn't drop your laptop, or someone smiled at you, or you got up today. I think that when we help ourselves through habits and practice to focus more on the things that bring us joy, it helps overall. And so I know for me, when I'm feeling in the dumps and I'm whining about something, thinking about a couple of things that I'm grateful for always helps to kind of snap me back into the reality of life. Because yes, there's a lot of crap happening in the world. There's a lot happening in the world, but there's also a lot of great stuff happening in the world if you look for it.
Yeah. And I would argue that my personal experience is, in that same vein, one of our other greatest addictions right now is sharing bad news. Right? If something happens, it's messy, we share it, like, you know what I mean? Like, quick.
That's right.
So the thing that I'm trying to flip the script personally and professionally is that I would argue the universe is neutral. It's what we publish it. But we tend to publish, the national news, international news. Again, I don't have to say what it is. We all know Gaza is all this stuff. So I'm very intentional about when good things happen in my inner circle, I share it. Not to sensationalize it, just to go, it was amazing. And by the way, just to remind people that good things are happening too. Because I find, at least me and the people that I hang around with, we talk about things that matter. If I'm bringing it up, it's clearly important. So I just, hey, have you seen this? Or that was amazing. And so the conversations tend to be a little different.
Yeah. I think also we, not all of us, but it seems more normal, and I'm putting that in air quotes, to embrace bad news. We all know that person. This happened and that happened. And like take the bad news and wear it almost, my illness, my this, my problem. And then shirk attention toward the positive things that happen.
Yeah.
It's like we're like, I'd love to flip the script where we're embracing the wonderful things and we come to expect the wonderful things, knowing that, things that are not so great come around.
Yeah.
But I think that it also fortifies us to be able to deal with those things and to know how to navigate them when we're focused on, healthy, happy habits and joy.
Yeah. And not every day's joyful. I get it. Some days are harder than others. And
Mm-hmm.
when I find myself in a place where I'm not, I'm not where I need to be emotionally, then I pivot and I work on something that, maybe I FaceTime my child, maybe go for a walk, maybe I put on my favorite song, but I do something, you know what I mean, to get through it. Because again, you cannot pour from an empty cup.
You cannot.
And so I know that, right?
You
And I know
cannot.
that. So sometimes it feels like the people around me are poking holes in my cup.
Yes.
Sometimes the people are, stealing the cup, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, yo, and so I'm like,
spin the cup back around.
yeah.
I want
So
it over here.
but I'm
Yeah.
just mindful because at the end of the day, there's a situation and there's a response, and I own the response.
Yeah.
And I'm adult enough now to know that I can work my through it. And I'll just say this, and I don't want to go. A lot of this, I think, for me at least, comes from my dad. Now, my dad was not formally educated. He was a ninth grade dropout in Mullins, South Carolina.
Okay.
But he had some of that deep Southern wisdom that I don't know he got on a tobacco field.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he was the most erratic person at times, but the most positive. And I remember, and I just share this. I mean, I'd come home and I'd be struggling and upside down. And I remember like it was yesterday, he said to me, son, there is no such thing as bad weather, only inadequate clothing.
Okay.
And that has stuck with me. And I remember he said, boy, don't try to control the storm. You control how you show up in it.
That's right.
And so the backstory with me is always the storm will be the storm.
It's what you're wearing.
Yes, I got to show up differently. Whether the storm will be the storm. There'll be personal, professional, whatever. And so my backstory is always like I always have that kind of talking about storytelling in the back of my head. I'm like, this is just a storm, and I'm built for this. And I just got to adapt, flex, do whatever, change my gear, grab an umbrella, whatever it may be. And that's part of that mindset in terms of the book and happiness habits and all of the above.
And being accountable.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that because how often do people show up in shorts and a t-shirt when it's snowing outside?
Yeah.
It's snowing outside, it's raining. And then we get upset when we're cold or when your hair gets wet.
Yeah.
It's like show up ready for the weather that you encounter. And then that way the weather's not good or bad. It's just there. It's part of life.
It just is. I mean, I get people all the time, I have people, again, in the Midwest or Chicago complain about the weather. I'm like, how many years you lived here? I mean, how many, do you know it does snow here?
That's a season. It's a season.
Right? Just like in New York City, it gets humid. Like, how many years you going to complain that it gets humid in Brooklyn?
Yeah.
So either way, that's the frustration. But to your point, so in the back of that is my dad. And so all of that is kind of hardwired into that book. Some simple things I could do to kind of reboot, get my head in a better place, to get through the storm.
Yeah.
Not complain about it.
Yeah. So I want to hear more about you, who you are. And you shared through the release of your book, Contrast.
Yeah.
Very recently released.
Mm-hmm.
A very personal story about who Devin Hughes is and what you've encountered. Tell us about that book. Tell us about what you learned while writing that book.
Yeah. It was raw and it was real and it was hard because I had so much shame in my story. Shame in that, again, I talked to my father. My father's African-American, my mother's Caucasian. They met in the segregated South in the 1960s. My grandfather was in the Ku Klux Klan. So as you can imagine, he wasn't too happy about that unholy union, as he liked to call it. So my parents literally had to escape in the pickup truck and drive to Washington, D.C., which is where I was born. So from an early age, I mean, I just felt different.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly, because I look, light skin, green eyes, with the good hair is what I often heard as a kid. Grew up in predominantly African American communities. I was in special ed. Unbeknownst to me, I'm dyslexic. So there was all these data points, socioeconomic, racial, cultural. I just felt different. And so that was the book, is to come out on the other side, and to talk about, being born to a mom who was 18, who barely graduated high school, being embarrassed, only having one car. Like, I had all the armor up all the time. So to compartmentalize. So the book was really for those who felt like the other. They didn't fit. They didn't belong, whatever that is, when you just feel like you couldn't find your people.
Yeah. And
you didn't know who they were. And so that was a part of the book, of telling my story, to come out on the other side and some lessons learned.
Why did you write it?
Well, serendipitously, I didn't really go out and purposely to write it. I didn't never thought that I was going to be a writer. I was given a talk at a Rotary Club. Just randomly, someone asked me to do a talk, and I didn't really know what to say. But the one thing I could talk about is my story. And I was like, I don't know, no one wants to hear this, who cares, that kind of thing. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let the guard down and just go there. And I did, and unbeknownst to me, there was a publisher in the back of the room. And he's like, have you ever thought about writing a book?
Wow.
And I was like, no. And you hear that all the time, right? But he kept calling and calling and calling. And so I was like, well, maybe this is the universe pivoting, moving, whatever it may be. And that's how it started. And once I got in, I was like, it was cathartic.
Yeah.
It was pulling up old memories and stuff that I compartmentalized. Like, I put in the trunk, put in the basement, buried it. But as you know, it doesn't go away.
It's waiting for you. It's waiting.
So it was a growth moment for me. And that was the impetus for the book. And once I got in, I was all in.
I read part of the book. I haven't read the entire thing. What I loved about what I did read was how vulnerably raw you were in telling your story. No matter how you felt as you were doing it, what we receive from the book, those, and I encourage you to read this book, and we'll put the full name in the show notes. What I really appreciated about your book, Devin, was it talked about things that resonate so deeply with so many people. And it's really around being the other or being different, right? And so it speaks to what happens when two people of two seemingly different races, just different tones of their skin, come together, and how the folks around them respond, react, and behave around that decision. It spoke to your experience as a young person that came out of that union, and how that translated into what your life was going to be like on a day-to-day basis. It spoke to you navigating the world of being a child who was born of a white mother and a black father, and what that looks like. And it also spoke a lot to how what your roadmap was to kind of finding meaning and identity in your own life through having had those experiences. We were talking before we started filming about some of the experiences that people have, like within the culture, about, light-skinned or what it feels like to be different, and how we treat each other when we perceive difference. I myself am the daughter of a Haitian father and a Puerto Rican mother. And I grew up in Brooklyn, and I happen to be what people consider light-skinned. And it created riff for me, just by virtue of being a human being, going to school in Brooklyn. I didn't know that I was different. I knew that I was living my life. I knew there were some challenges. I came out of a household of divorce and everything that comes along with that. I grew up in an upper middle class area and went to public school. And my friends were from the neighborhood, friends who lived in, the brownstone down the street, and friends who lived in the projects, and friends who lived everywhere in between. And Yet there was something about me that created a problem for some people,
Yeah.
which translated into me learning at an early age where I needed to have armor and
Mm.
where I didn't, and how I needed to show up in the world, in my world at the time, if I was going to um, be left alone
Mm.
in that.
Yeah.
And I know you, so reading the book, the parts of it that I read, and I'm going to finish it, I felt that. I felt those experiences. I know what that feels like for me. I
Yeah.
can't say that I know what it felt like for you, but
Yeah.
it resonated with the experience that I've both had myself and also what I've seen about the ways that we interact with each other in the world.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's a collective experience, whatever we all sometimes, whatever the norm is. And I mean, I was just acutely aware that I was different
Yeah.
and I wasn't white enough, certain cases, black enough, trying to figure out no extended family, with parents had addiction issues, neither a college graduate, just trying to figure out domestic violence. I mean, I had just a slew of things, and I'm compartmentalizing this, and I'm trying to just be a kid.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like there wasn't joy in the house. My parents
Yeah.
did the best they could, but it was just a lot of heaviness.
Hey, it's Lisane. I created Protect Your Peace, a boundaries and accountability workshop, because I know what it's like to feel stretched too thin and how it feels when you're saying yes to everyone else, but feel like you're disappearing in the process. This workshop is your invitation to pause and to come back to you. In just 2 hours, you'll learn how to set boundaries that reflect your values, protect your energy, and strengthen your voice unapologetically. You'll also learn how to hold yourself accountable in a way that builds self-trust and momentum, not burnout. This is the kind of space I wish I had when I was deep in the cycle of over-responsibility and simply just doing too much. So I created it for you. Join me for Protect Your Peace, live or on demand, and walk away with tools you can use immediately to get back in alignment. Click the link in the show notes to register. You deserve to protect your peace and your power.
So, to the book, I didn't want to sensationalize it or look back like I had it all figured out. I didn't have anything figured out.
Yeah.
I just know that day to day I had to get through it and survive.
Yep.
And so that's what I wanted to write about. And I didn't want to discount some of the experiences. I wanted to take you to a place where, for example, you come home. I was you come home, and I don't know what it's like for a lot of kids, but I was scared to bring kids home.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because my mother might be doing something inappropriate on the coffee table, which was illegal.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would literally open the door and I would kind of give a look to the left or to the right and make sure everything was good, and then run in my room real quick. I mean, is that normal behavior for a kid to have to be acutely aware of that stuff?
Yeah.
But those are the kind of things that I was just, because I felt judged and I wanted to be normal. But so I don't know. Those are things that I write about in the book, little anecdotes like that of trying to figure out who I was.
Yeah. What did you learn about yourself through recalling those parts of your story?
Yeah, it's interesting because now in the aggregate, we use words like trauma, trauma informed. That's not language I had. If you looked at the totality of my life and experiences, I'm like, wow, it's a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
To me, it was what I was.
Yeah.
Right. It just was. And so even in the moments of that, there were still pockets of really, really good stuff. And so what I learned is my parents were flawed.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing the best they could. And they just, highs and lows. And so I learned how to survive. I learned how to adapt. I learned how to flex. And maybe it's my own, the rationalization myself. It kind of bleeds into the work I do right now. So I know what it's like, and so I can connect lived experiences. So in terms of the book writing, there was some hard moments for me. I mean,
Of course.
my dad put his hands on my mom a lot when he drank. And to hear that, to see that, to intervene on that. I mean, I remember there was times, my mom tended to be, she'd get excited and yell and raise her voice. He'd come home drunk. They'd argue. They'd go back and forth. He'd hit. I'd have to get in the middle. I remember times literally we'd sit on the floor after and just cry as a family, just because it felt, that was heavy. And so writing about that, feeling that, I was like, I haven't felt that for 40 years.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was what it was.
Was there completion energy in writing this book?
Yeah, I think so. I think I felt like I felt like I came out a better human being on the other end of it. I didn't try to rationalize it. I didn't try to understand. I just, it just put a little closure. My mom's no longer here, but put a little closure, maybe a period on that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So today you have children.
I do.
And you have a family of your own.
Yeah.
And how has your experience shaped your family system today?
Yeah. So that's so interesting, right? Because I try to be present where we are. The world's very different than when I grew up. Good or bad, it just is. And so my kids have grown up very different than I have in terms of socioeconomically. We didn't own a house when I grew up. We lived in an apartment. So it's a balance of trying to afford them certain things, but also not making it too easy.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. The other thing is I have 4 girls. I'm a girl dad. So there's a whole litany of things I've had to learn about raising young ladies that I wasn't just aware of. I mean, I knew it, but I didn't know it. But the kind of inherent societal pressure that you find value as a girl, society, if you're skinny, if you're pretty, and I didn't realize how systemic that was. And so even at an early age, I could see the self-doubt and the self-loathing in my girls because they weren't pretty enough or skinny enough. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm
enough, just not enough.
Enough, yeah.
Which is what the world will lead us to believe if we're not careful, that we're not enough.
Yeah. So I think that was the part of being a parent, which I, had to kind of grow and evolve and flex, and the balance of letting them go through it versus jumping in and trying to fix it.
Yeah.
And I think that was a nice balance for me, trying to figure out when I go in, when I intervene, when I don't. Sometimes you have to go through the storm. I can't grab the umbrella. It's lived experiences. And so, yeah, but it's the best thing. It's been a huge blessing. The girls have been amazing. It's grown me as a human being. And there's some things I wasn't prepared for and some things that have been amazing. So all of the above, yeah.
Yeah. What did you have to unlearn in order to parent in the way that you do today? Yeah.
Well, I think, at least my personal opinion, like, we're byproducts of our environment for somewhat. And so all I know is my parents, and my parents were pretty laissez-faire. Now, I don't know why. I ran around wherever I wanted to go. I just did whatever I wanted to do. Well, that's not necessarily the world we live in anymore. So it's things like boundaries.
Yeah.
And I would never share with my parents the things I was doing. Everything was, they would use language like, this is adult time. And,
Yeah. It was always us against them. It's like the adults and the children.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that right? Is that wrong? Do I replicate that? Is there a balance? Those are all the kind of things.
Yeah.
How much do I need to know? Which I think those are the things we all struggle with that I was trying to figure out. I don't know, good or bad. It's just the challenges of parenting and, the realities of today.
Yeah. In my household, my father, I grew up in my father's house, and he was very, he could be very rigid. And where you talked about laissez-faire, my father, it was the opposite, right? It was like these rules, and there was not a lot of social time for us. So we'd have to like hang out and do it after school, but get in time to let him know we were home and all of that. And there was also a lot of anger because of the level of stress that he was under. And when I look back now, I think it was that he was burnt out and tired and all of that. And he was also a single parent, and he was a single father to three very creative, rambunctious kids while he was navigating a new country and that world of a single father. And so what that meant for me was going into my childhood, going into my parenting, I started it with what I already had, which is what a lot of us do, right?
Yeah.
You start off with what you have in your toolkit. And then I recognized really early that this isn't working for this. Like, this just is, something's not right. I'm not happy. This isn't right.
Yeah.
And there couldn't be, for me, when I considered both my life and also considered who I actually am. I'm not my father. Very close to my father passed away 12 years ago this past Monday, but loved my father very much, had a tremendous amount of respect for him. And I was also a very different person. And so to take someone else's playbook and attempt to apply it to my own family system was bound to create problems. And a lot of what happened in my household was it was either anger or happy. There was not a lot of joy, but it was either anger or happy. And so if there was anything less than happy, sad, hurt, confusion, anxiety, it went into the angry bucket.
Yeah.
Right? And so I recognized when my son Joseph, who I had 3 weeks after my 18th birthday, I recognized a few years later that there was something I needed to do differently, but I didn't know what it was. I knew something didn't feel right, and the rules that I was attempting to put on him didn't feel right, but I wasn't sure of how to undo it, or, and I did, for sure. Over time, I started to recognize that if I don't stop, hit the pause button, take a look at what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and discern what's really what I believe in my heart from what was programmed or what was just habit, I was literally going to maintain the very same environment that I grew up through. And it's not that it was horrible, like there were aspects of it that were amazing, but I believe that we're creators on this planet. Like, we get to do things differently. That is part of the job. It's part of the assignment.
Yeah.
And so I started doing the work on myself to find a way to move from this pendulum swing of happy or mad to, like, what does joy feel like for me? Like, what feels good to me? What kind of parent do I really want to be?
Yeah.
What kind of relationship do I want to have with my children? Do I want my children to trust me? To tell me about all the bullshit happening in the world and in school and with people? Or do I want them to shield that stuff from me because they're separate and they're children and I'm an adult, And what I read, the little bit that I know about you and just a couple of times that we've had conversation, and what I read, there's a delta between there that tells, that I believe is you having found a way to do it differently for your today life versus taking that experience, whatever it was, good, bad, whatever it was, and moving that through to your children, to the next generation. And I commend you for that.
Well, thanks. I mean, and that's my cause. I mean, that's my purpose right now. I've been blessed. I've had a great life, continue to do great work, but if I'm not making an impact or making it better, what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so when people ask you why or why you do what you do, I don't need any more trophies or plaques or cars. I don't need any of that. I just want to leave it better than when I got it. And I love that what you said, because I'm always working on me. I think in order to create a better place, you got to become a better version of yourself. And so I'm very open to feedback. I'll give you an example. I mean, I'm constantly asking for feedback. We use things like feedback as a gift, and then we hear and we're like,
don't talk to me about that.
I don't want to hear all that. You know what
I'm
perfect. And so like with my kids and stuff, sometimes I'll use this called, because there's different chapters of children, which I realize. And when they're super little, that's what they need. Middle school, high school. And so I'm at a chapter now where they're in their 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've never been here before.
That's right.
I don't have a predicate. I don't have a cliff notes. I don't have anything. So it's lived experience. I'm like, right? Writing the manual. And I have, to your point, I've got the way my parents ran it. And so I'm like, so the only way I can do it is be the best version, but also ask for a lot of feedback. So I'll ask my kids, start, stop, continue. What are some things you need me to do more of?
Yeah.
And I ask literally, and I get feedback. Well, Dad, sometimes when I'll give you an example. Like they're dating.
What? Every man that I talk to who mentions the fact that his daughter is dating, may date,
yeah,
or is thinking about it,
right?
Has the same look.
Yeah,
you have the same expression. What?
Just because my experience with most guys, it's a generalization. You know what I mean? It's just they don't have their stuff together. All right, so I'm like, so if a guy comes to the house, my wife's like, give me a pep talk. Like we're in the locker room and it's like Phil Jackson.
Don't act up.
Don't act up. Be friendly. Shake his hand. He's a hugger. Sit at the island with us. Like she's giving me like literally the whole like prescriptive. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, okay, because I'd be like,
I'm gonna be the silent dad. Say
is he gonna make the team? How much energy do I give this young man? You know what I mean? And so I'm like, okay, so these are the things. So fortunately, I have a support system.
Yeah.
That knows my gaps.
Yes.
And I'm okay.
Yes.
In that space.
Yeah.
Because they know that I'm like, okay, she'll like, don't tap out.
Yeah.
I need you to lean in on this.
Yeah.
I know it's hard. I know this ain't your wheel, but and I'm like, you know what I mean?
But it seems like you've allowed your children to be part of your team.
Yes. Yes.
And I think that makes all the difference.
It does.
Yeah, all the difference. I was watching Giancarlo Esposito. I was at the Kids for Peace event a year ago. Mm-hmm. Not this last one, the one before.
Yeah.
And he was the person and who got honored. And he was talking about similar conversation about his children who were at the time, or I guess are still adults.
Yeah.
And he talked very similarly about his willingness to allow his children to give him feedback and to let him know how he's doing. And what resonated for me in that is that when we allow these little human beings who have been watching us every day of just like we're watching them, they're watching us too, yes. Right? Who better than to tell you what they see? Because they love us.
Yes.
They love us. So it's not feedback to trip us up or to take anything away from us or to insult us. It's feedback because they want to be better and they want us to be better. Or they recognize that sometimes there are blind spots. And so as a parent, I believe that we truly, truly help ourselves. We help our children and we help their children when they come. I have grandchildren. We help them all to be better when we create a family system that allows us to hold each other accountable.
Yeah, because I think accountability is not to you, it's for you.
Oh, totally. Right? Yeah.
And I think framing it like that, if it's for me, like for example, the medicine doesn't always taste good.
Right.
But that don't mean it ain't good for you.
Exactly.
And sometimes I need somebody to, and so I'm open to that. Now, again, I may make a face and, cringe, but I know at the end of the day, it's coming from a good place and they see something that I don't see in myself. And so I try to flex.
Yeah.
And lean into that space and say, okay. And again, maybe it's situational even.
Yeah.
Like with this boyfriend thing, it's just uncomfortable for me for a variety of reasons. Because I'm trying to figure out what his intentions are, the motives, is this all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's just stuff that narratives and stories I have.
Mm-hmm.
But she's with him, we're in the space, whatever space, I need to act appropriately because not necessarily for him, for her.
100% for her, because here's the thing, and I'm telling you this, and I recognize that you're open and you're flexible and you're allowing this very uncomfortable season to happen where your daughters are, they're dating, they're exploring the world and exploring themselves. What the gift that you give to your daughter is that your daughter A, knows that somebody's behind her, that there's a man who's behind her, not with judgment, not with criticism, not louder than her voice and thought and reasoning in the situation. And also, you're creating a situation where your daughter doesn't have to use the energy that she could be using for her personal discernment on trying to manage you down.
Yeah.
So you build trust. So then you put the daughter in the position to be able to come to say, let me tell you what happened. What do you think about this? So that you two can really have the conversation. And I'm saying this to you as a daughter who did not have that from my father, because my father was very much authoritarian. He really leaned into those feelings that you're describing. He felt them.
Oh, I
Like
think
as
we
an
all
adult,
do.
I'm like, I know what he felt. I get it. But in doing that, he allowed that to put up the wall.
Yeah.
But here's the problem when you do that as a parent, you put up a wall and it takes you away from the situation, and it has the opposite effect, because now your child is off trying to discover their world on their own without your guidance, without your protection, without your help, without your support, without your wisdom.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, that's new and exciting right now dealing with this.
His face does not look excited
Yeah, no, I
at
mean,
all.
yeah, no, I mean, again, it's part of the growth process is being a
Yeah.
human and evolving, and growth's not always easy. It's not always, again, the thing is, I'm acutely aware of it,
Yeah.
and I'm not discounting the experience. I'm moving through it,
Yeah.
and I'm okay with it. It's challenging sometimes.
Yeah.
In the aggregate, though, I mean, we got great kids making good choices, good character,
Yeah.
good human beings. So I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so all of that, the book is a byproduct of that. If it can inspire other people for whatever reason, whether current circumstances or kids, grandkids, partner, spouse, whoever feels like the other, that's what the book's
Yeah.
really for, to inspire those folks.
Have they read the book?
Yes, all my kids, my friends and family. I had most of the people in my inner circle, people that knew me were like, had no idea that I had so much dysfunction going on at home. They're like, wow, I would have never known that you were going with all that. You didn't seem to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, I mean, what was I going to do? I mean, put on my highlight reel. I mean, we didn't talk about stuff. And this, I want to say my era, but at least growing up, we didn't talk about people's feelings. And we use language like man up,
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
yeah, put your big boy pants. I mean, that was the language I grew up with. So to tap into that emotional capital and be like, no, it was always surface.
You just keep it going. Just keep it moving.
And again, depending on where you grew up, your environment. I grew up in the inner city. So there were certain social norms. We didn't show weakness, soft, kindness. You had to show up a certain way. If you didn't, then people may take advantage of you or try to do whatever.
Yeah.
So the aggregate environment, the home, so you just learn to.
Yeah, it's protection everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah. No place to breathe.
No.
Is the result.
No.
There's no place to breathe. So you try to live without breathing.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
Yeah, it does. And so, the book was a byproduct of just, in some ways, breathing.
Yeah.
Just letting it go.
Yeah.
So.
You also write children's books.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah. So again, my personal anecdote is if you can, well, first of all, growing up, I didn't have children's literature, people look like me or people in my community.
Yeah.
So that was a problem. I realized it. So everyone just wasn't, I didn't see me in the children's literature. I didn't see it on the shows. I didn't see it anywhere. And so I wanted to create books and children's literature where people, for example, my lead characters, a lot are women, and they're women of color, and it has nothing to do with their looks or their beauty or their waist size. It's because they're cognitive rock stars. I wanted to blow up stereotypes and tropes and all the above, so young kids somewhere could read this literature and see themselves in it and go, oh, yeah, I can be. Right? Because it's hard to be what you cannot see, right?
That's right.
Right. And if you grew up in certain environments and all you see yourself around is people. And so that was the backstory. And then I got creative. And then I also wanted to write stuff that, again, human beings aren't born with beliefs, right? They're based on environments.
We're born being.
Yes, we're being, right? And
Yeah.
then you're like clay, and then depend on the conversations you have, what you listen to, what you watch, where you spend your time. So I felt in my own small way, could I create literature where people could not only see themselves, but I could start to create some positive beliefs, self-esteem, self-worth. And that was the genesis for the children's literature. So all my stuff has a little bit of belief, something in it where people go, wow, I can be kind, I can be capable, I am loved, I am worthy. Little snippets, little mantras.
Yeah, that people need to hear. I think sometimes when we've filled our lives with that, we forget that there are people who don't get to hear that.
Yeah.
So the more we can do to, and I commend you for putting that messaging in there, because some young person, probably many, will read that book and remember that you said that to them, that they read that in a book that was written for them. All right, can we talk a moment about setting the vibe? If you're anything like me, your space needs to feel good in order for you to feel good. And that's why I created the Shaping Freedom line of candles. It's not just about ambiance, but really about how you align yourself internally. These are more than just candles. They shift your energy. Whether you're journaling, meditating, working out, or just taking a moment for yourself, these scents are curated to ground you, lift you up, and bring you back home to yourself. They also have an 80-hour burn time and scents that are designed to evoke feelings of alignment and internal congruency. And we can all use that. Go to shop.shapingfreedom.com and check them out. Find the one that speaks to your spirit, or buy all 4, and let them burn with intention.
And I'm also not tone deaf to the realities of the world right now. I mean, if you look at the world and the data, mental health among our children is declining rapidly. Cutting, self-loathing, bullying. I mean, you just look at all the modalities.
Anxiety.
Yes. So again, the kids are hurting for a variety of reasons. COVID, post-COVID, I get it. I mean, breakdown of families, social communities, all of the above. So in my small way, trying to figure out a way that I can try to bring people together, provide some literature, a conduit to facilitate some conversations, whether it's a coloring book or any other book to start to create a little bit of a positive impact.
Which I think it's important. Have you had any memorable reactions from people about the children's books?
Yeah.
Have you spoken to any children who have read?
That I need to do more of. What I do, though, is I get people send me on social media, like go on X or something. They'll send me or post, like tag me, they'll have their kid reading it or filling in a coloring book and say, hey, love the book. And then the kid will be on the couch, either reading it or coloring it. I'm like, oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't know who these people are. They're just like, hey, thank you so much. Or we really needed this. Or Sally's struggling in school. She's not the cool kid, the skinny kid, the whatever kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
there's a piece of you, the piece of what you've learned in that person's experience.
Yeah. And so I get some of that. Which is, I mean, it's even at this stage of my life, I don't need a lot, but just that makes me like, wow, okay. Because as an artist, any artist will know this. It's really raw and vulnerable to put something out, because with that, oftentimes there's judgment.
Yeah.
Right. But if you're in the space enough, that's part of the, like, if you want to be a gladiator, then you got to be and that's just part of it.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it any easier, but you're there. Right. And so you put yourself out there, and so you don't really know, you're trying to figure out. And at least me, when I write books, I try to get outside my bubble, because your inner circle usually doesn't, they gas you up.
They're there. They're like, you're great.
Yes.
You're fantastic.
Yes. And I'm like, oh, I'm amazing. But, outside the peripheral, I'm like, okay, well, outside the crew, what do they think?
Yeah.
And so, I'm trying to expand my data set there. But again, I'm not getting caught up good or bad. I'm just doing the work. And if I do the work and consistently stay true to me and put the work out there, it'll be what it'll be.
Yeah. In addition to being an author, for speaking to both children and adults, you are also a storyteller and you do speaking engagements.
Yeah.
And you speak to organizations about their culture and what's
Yes.
happening within the organizations. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I had a traditional job like a lot of people. You graduated from undergrad, you get a job, you work at a corporation, you sit in a cube and you just do, and occasionally
You're just
they're
there.
just there, and you go to a couple of meetings, you nod your head up and down.
Yeah,
Every
yeah,
once a
yeah.
year they tell you you good or bad, you get a 3% raise, and you do that over and over. So I did that for a while. Then it was mildly successful, and then I got to a certain inflection point, and I was like, is this it? Like, am I just going to do this over and over? That's going to be the totality of my life?
Yeah.
Um, and I just like, you know what? I don't want to, I don't want to live with any regret.
Mm.
And so I had always been comfortable in front of rooms, and that was anecdotal feedback. And then I'd also been in great cultures at work, not so good cultures. And I'm like, well, there has to be, if it could be really good, why isn't more of it?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, so what if I was to create a little boutique consultancy in my business life that I could help organizations, profit, nonprofit, government, create a workplace where everyone felt like they could belong,
Mm-hmm.
like they could thrive, and use science, use some research-based tools to create a little bit of environment. And so that's what I built my business around. I do some motivational stuff and do all that, but that's the kind of the lion's share of the work that I do, and create a workplace where human beings feel like they belong. Because I say that to say this: every human being that I find at work, doesn't matter what it is, wants the same three things. They want to be seen, heard, and valued.
That's right.
Seen, heard, and valued.
At work and at home.
Yes.
Humans.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so those are the sandboxes I'm going to play in: seen, heard, and valued. I'm going to operationalize. I'm not going to just be platitudes on the wall or on the website. We're going to live them.
Yeah.
And so I work with organizations and showing them how to operationalize those in behaviors.
Yeah. You bring gratitude into those conversations.
Absolutely.
How does that get received?
Mixed. At first, sometimes that's a little woo-woo. You know what I mean? Like, really, what is gratitude? Like, why, you know what I mean? Like, work.
Why is that important to us? We want
We want, productivity,
goals,
and we want outcomes and
objectives.
goals and KPIs and all that business stuff. You know what I mean? Like, we got to intellectualize everything. And I just say a simple question like this, doesn't matter who it is. Do you think your team performs better when they feel better? Well, yeah. All right. Are they at their best when they feel their best? Yeah. All right. So if I can get them in a better place, or you can get them in a better place more days, do you think they're going to provide better customer service, better customer experience, better outcomes, less drama, less stress? Most people, of course. Okay, well, then stay with me here. I'm going to show you how we can get them in a better place more days. Not just woo-woo, not perks, parties, and pizza, not more t-shirts. That's fine. But just human being stuff.
Yeah.
And again, so it's not adjacent to outcomes. It drives the outcomes we want. And when I can have those conversations, the conversation changes, and then I get people to lean in a little bit more and tap into that. Okay, I'm going to hear that.
Yeah, which I think is important. I worked in corporate for a long time. I worked for Fortune 500 and 100 companies, and there was a lot of conversation around SMART goals and KPIs and scorecards and all this other stuff, and people were falling apart while they were attempting to reach the levels of productivity that they were being asked to provide and invest into the organization. And I believe that we can type A differently. And that there's a way to your point, create environments where people don't resent the very organization that's giving them the paycheck because they feel seen in some way or valued just because their humanity is acknowledged. So I commend you also for doing that great work, because you can say woo-woo, but the truth of the matter is that no matter how much we try to make each other and ourselves into robots, it's impossible. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen, because that's just not who we are. No more than you can get a car to, I don't know, do a downward facing dog. It's not going to happen. You know? You have to you have to bring into the company culture room and space for human beings to be humans, just like in our families.
It's interesting you say that, because again, when I was looking at this, I was like, we spend more time at work
That's
than
right.
we do at home.
That's right.
And so, again, I talked about 80 summers. Most people retire by 65. So 40 years plus of your existence is at a place with these human beings.
Mm-hmm.
So why would I expect less then? Why would I lower the bar? Why would I create an environment where I had to be less human
Right.
and discount things like empathy and compassion and hope and serenity and awe and love? So I'm like, we need to redo work.
Right.
So I got really underneath it. Did you know there's only one culture on planet Earth that has a word that says there's joy at work? A word. There's only one culture that I love work, that there's joy at work. So I was looking for the word. I'm like, okay. I can only find one culture on the entire planet of 8 billion people. The only culture that has a word are the Nordic countries. Denmark
Finland.
it's called Abosgud. It means I love work. There's joy at work.
You know, Finland is also they do the annual, my goodness, what is the survey?
Yeah, the happiest country.
They're the happiest country.
Yeah, yeah.
We're like at 275,000 on that list.
Exactly. That's when my head blew up.
Yeah. So there's something to it.
Yes. And so I was like, we don't even think it's physically possible. We don't even have a word in our lexicon.
Not at all.
Right?
Not at all.
And so I'm like, okay, so we don't even think joy is possible to work because we don't even have a word for it. Now, the Japanese have it worse. They have a word, again, I was into the research here, that says, I die at work.
No.
Now, you wouldn't have a word for something unless it was repeated.
Right. Wow.
Yes. So we got these polar opposites.
Yes.
Finland and the Japanese.
Yes.
Not one or the other. And I'm like,
let's try to fall somewhere on the right side of that.
Yes. And so that's part of the genesis for me is like, can we create environments where people can feel like they're seen, heard, and valued?
Do you believe that we can?
I do. And I do think people are open to conversation, and I think things are changing and continuing to change, but we're still fall back to some old paradigms and some systems and some bad leadership behaviors and all the other stuff. But the good thing is I find a lot of folks right now, younger generations, they don't settle. They're not going to go sit in a cube for 45 years and get a Timex and a ham from some guy on the 6th floor who doesn't remember their name in the elevator.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They're like, you know what? I'm educated. I got Wi-Fi. I got AI. If you're not filling my cup,
I don't want to be here.
Next. Yes.
Yeah. And if you're trying to make me wear whatever, I'm not going to be here. I want to be happy. And I think that is, that should be the bar.
Yeah.
For all of us, because we do our best work when we're feeling good.
Yes.
We
with
create
good people.
With good people when we enjoy the environments that we're in. I'm really looking forward to, and I believe that that's possible also. I'm looking forward to more and more organizations understanding that. Because the thing is that folks are coming into work with all the things that are happening in the world on their heart and on their mind. And the time for, or the world where you can segregate and compartmentalize things is becoming less and less possible.
Yeah.
Because we carry the world around with us in our pocket, in our purse, in our, in our hand. And people are coming into work with the fact that we're number 200, whatever it is, on the happiness. I don't know where it is. I forgot. On the happiness, the Gallup poll for happiness. Children who are struggling more and more and more with anxiety, with cutting, with all kinds of behaviors that show us that something needs to change. Adults are tuning out. Mm-hmm. They're disconnected. They're in their phones. They're doing all the things to just try to feel a little bit better or to try to numb.
Yeah.
Work is the reflection of the human beings that make up that collective. And so if there was ever a place to start to make those changes and improve the quality of the ways that people are interacting, it's at work.
Yeah.
It's at work, and it's at home, and it's at work. And I think we have to start really understanding that. We have to start sitting down and having those conversations with people who are interacting with each other every day, no matter what's happening in the world with the news and all these other things that are happening. We have to recognize that we're humans and we're all here together.
Yeah, I'm going to give you an example. I was in Europe in the fall doing some work. Did you know the UK now has a minister of loneliness?
No,
A cabinet position. Think about that for a second. A minister of loneliness. You would not have a cabinet position in government unless there was a pervasive problem. And so I'm like, wow, is this really this big of a deal?
What does the minister of loneliness, I'm going to look that up, but what does the minister of loneliness
we're trying to figure
do?
out why the loss of community, right? We don't talk to each other, right? And again, I was just following the data, like church attendance is down, volunteering is down, family dinners are down, family vacations are down. And I started looking at what was the common denominator? We don't gather, we don't talk, we self-segregate. We text, we tweet, we Snapchat, we all do all of the above. But when we don't have serendipitous conversations like that, we self-segregate. So I saw that, and then I'm like, okay, this is weird. Minister of loneliness? And so what's happening in the UK now, they have what they call chat benches.
Oh, yes, I've heard about those.
They're real. I literally in parks. And it's literally a sign and says, please sit here if you would like to talk to me. And I'm like, in 2024, when I saw this, is this where we are?
That's where we are.
I mean, I need a bench in a park in Hollywood or LA.
That's where we are.
Encouraging human to put the phone down and do this.
That's where we are.
Yeah.
That is where we are.
Yeah. And so I think part of that, because Michelle Obama says it's great. She says it's hard to hate up close.
That's right. The things that I would like, I don't like your shirt's cream and, all this nonsense that people spew into the comments goes away.
Yes.
When you look at each other.
Yes. And so I find, again, when we have serendipitous conversations, what I find is, and when I speak and I do workshops, we have a lot more in common than we think.
Absolutely.
And when you create space to find those commonalities, you're like, oh my God, I didn't know you grew up in Brooklyn, or you like Mary J. Blige, or you like Thai food, or you're a Rams fan. I would argue the brain is always looking to connect. And when we create space to connect, you will watch the relationship start to change. Because if I can see myself in your story, then you and I must be a lot more alike than we think.
That's right.
But I think we live in a world right now where we tend to focus on all the differences.
We polarize our differences.
And everything, again, my personal opinion, if you're not careful, everything is framed as red states and blue states.
Like that's the only thing. That's the only distinction that we are.
Yeah. So it's us and it's them. And so there it is. And there's a narrative, and I hang out. And that is part of your work, my work, trying to bring
people to see and understand that it's bigger than that. We're humans.
Yes.
And let's apply some human behavior and human knowledge and wisdom to the ways that we're interacting with each other. Since we already know we're fighting about that, clearly, right? We already know that that's a thing. What if we move that away and sit down and have conversations without allowing politics into the conversation? Like, how many things can we find in common when we take these macro categories out of it?
And, it's interesting because when we talk about looking back, when I was a child, and again, I'd love to hear your experience, there was two things you were told not to talk about: politics and religion.
And religion. Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if we had learned to have civil discourse around those, would we be better served as adults?
Today. That's right. Because now the can of worms is open, and we don't know how to have that conversation.
We do.
We have no practice at it. There's no practice. We haven't had the opportunity to sit down and work that through. And I think that's one of the challenges that this country has to face, because quite frankly, there are other countries that have evolved to being able to have conversation around differences.
Yeah.
Conflict resolution is not part of our everyday. It's starting to become, I think, to some extent, but we need more of it.
Yeah.
And we need more, I believe, of an understanding of what's happening in our own heads as we're having conversations before we attempt to sit down and check each other and get each other right. I need to understand what's happening with me. And that's the agendaless time.
I love that.
That's the being.
Yeah.
You can't get there without the walks with the dog, the hanging out, the doing nothing, the taking a nap in the middle of the day.
No, I get it. And I check myself because my beliefs are my beliefs.
Yeah.
And I find right now when your beliefs become your identity, then the learning stops.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean? So now I got to lean into my identity. So if you counter my beliefs, now you're attacking my identity.
Right.
Now I'm not open to hearing anything now.
Right.
Because it's personal now.
That's right. Right.
And so those are the things that I'm trying to, again, as we work, all of us play our small part, is to, you can believe what you believe.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And we can still
find
things that we agree on.
Yeah. And we can be disagreeing. It doesn't mean I have to assassinate your character.
Right.
You just had different experiences.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I appreciate your experience and my experience, but can we agree that, we can disagree, but that's okay.
Right.
You don't have to be an enemy because you believe differently than I do.
I think the problem, and then I'll move on, is that we are living as if we're on a baseball field. I don't really follow baseball, but I was at a baseball game a couple of years ago. And what I noticed was that when the other team did something, had like a great hit or, ran the bases or whatever, I was cheering for everyone. Right. I was like, yay. And folks were like, what are you doing? You don't cheer for them. You don't cheer for them. We boo them no matter what they do.
Yeah.
And when I walked away from that baseball game, understanding was the culture that we live in that is validated and enforced through our perspective on sports, the way that we look at sports, or at least baseball, or at least that one game of baseball. I don't know. That may be an overgeneralization. But what I notice is that we are behaving in that same way, in the ways that we interact with each other. Oh, you're amazing. Oh, no, you suck because you have a purple shirt on. You suck. Even if you're absolutely amazing, even if you've done the most wonderful thing at all. And we have to stop doing that. We have to stop doing that. It's not helping us.
No, and it's not. And if we had a dashboard, it's blinking red.
It's so red.
Right? I mean,
and not red not political party red. It's blinking red. Stop doing it.
Yeah.
Stop.
So, I mean, you talked about employee engagement, kids' mental health.
Yes.
Every modality, is on the struggle bus.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, to your point, I don't think if there was ever a time to do something different, clearly it'd be now.
Yeah. What's a word that you would hope your loved ones would use to describe you?
One word, huh?
Or two.
A work in progress.
Okay.
Yeah, because again, not to keep talking about my dad, but one of those things that, again, I just fall back to my dad a lot. He's one of the things he told me, progress, not perfection.
Movement.
Movement. You got to keep moving. You got to stay. Don't worry about perfect. Just do the work. So I say a work in progress.
You talked about your practice of gratitude for the folks who are listening, to demonstrate how easy and quick it is.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a few seconds of something you're grateful for today.
Yeah. So tomorrow we're going on a family vacation.
What?
Hey, what?
Okay.
So again, we talked about moments. I have 4 daughters, and my wife and I are going to the East Coast, actually, Cape Cod.
Okay.
All right, because we had history there, and so we're going to do that beach thing. So I woke up today, and I have a journal, and I wrote in my journal, I'm grateful for the opportunity and the blessing to be able to spend time with my family in Cape Cod next week.
Nice.
And just be present. And that means beach, cookout, walks, board games, just being human.
Wow.
And that's what I'm super excited about. And so, again, that's what I wrote about today. Just have the grateful for the opportunity to do that. And so, again, if you look at that discipline and gratitude, I don't want to preach, like if you write at least one thing you're grateful for every day, and I think you could find one thing that you're grateful for every day.
And
look
if
hard
you
enough.
can't, you're not looking
Yeah.
hard. You're just not looking.
Yeah. And so you do that over a month, that's 30 different things. And then it's 60, 90, etc.
Yeah.
And so again, that's the habit that I've developed and continue to do so.
Yeah. I'm an iPhone user, and and I'm sure that Androids have the same thing, but there's a reminders
Mm-hmm.
app. And every year I come up with my word of the year. And then I don't always remember, but I keep a running list of moments of joy, things I'm grateful for, or just amazing things that happened. And I just put them in the reminders.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
then at the end of the year, even when it may feel like a shitty year, I take a look and I'm like, but wait a minute.
Yeah.
This is pretty badass. I had a great year. This is all good. And maybe I'm having a moment of not so wonderful. But I think it's important for us to track and to keep track of those things that bring us joy.
So am I going to make the list?
I don't know. I'll see. I don't know, Devin. I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm trying out for the team.
But the fact that I made a smart ass comment to you, that will make the list. I feel joy. I feel joy.
That gave me joy.
That gave me joy. One last question for you, sir.
Yeah.
What can we do to support you?
No, I appreciate the ability to be on the platform. If I can help anybody listening, please reach out via social media. My website's devinchughes.com. Whether it's personally, professionally, anything I can do to help you be a better version of you, I'd love to help support you. Yeah.
I want to thank you for showing up in person and for us being able to have this conversation in person. And I just want to let you know how much I appreciate the work that you're doing on this planet, the contribution you're making to just a more joyful world.
Yeah. Thank you.
Through vulnerability, through your creativity, through, the open, honest conversations you're having with leaders and with teams of people, and through your book for children, for families. Thank you so much for this. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me.
You're welcome.